The Pathless is at its best when it's living up to its name. As the mysterious hunter, I found myself most enraptured by this open world when I let my curiosity guide me. Built to satisfy that interest, the landscape is filled with engaging environmental puzzles, hidden bits of lore that deepen its main story, and gorgeous landscapes. Coupled with a simple but engrossing movement mechanic and an orchestral score that elevates the mythic quality of this new world, The Pathless is a journey absolutely worth taking. At the heart of The Pathless is its movement mechanics, which are rather revelatory in their simplicity. The island is filled with floating gems, which you need to shoot with your only weapon, a bow, to gain speed and maintain your flow. Because of this, the sensation of running, of gaining and maintaining speed is a sheer delight, and that turns the world into something of a playground for how you get around on foot and in the air. The hunter is accompanied by an eagle companion who can not only carry you across distances by gliding, but also use a limited number of flaps to increase its flight height. It's just as well that there's no fast travel because skipping the running and gliding would be missing the point. The shooting doesn't require a lot of skill because developer Giant Squid has completely removed the worry of precision aiming. Instead, the forgiving third-person camera lets you swing it around to auto-target gems. You just need to hold the trigger down to fill up a meter, or if your timing is good, let it fill up precisely halfway to get even more speed. By removing the challenge of aiming and instead putting it on button timing and quick thinking as you decide the route you want to carve out, The Pathless freed my mind up to think less about the specific points I was shooting at and more about how to move through the gorgeous landscapes ahead of me to create constant forward momentum. A missed shot here or there rarely tripped me up. And while you can wander aimlessly, there's plenty to guide your way and reward your curiosity. Two main collectibles in particular are plentifully hidden throughout the world. Crystals, which are needed to increase your eagle's ability to reach new heights, and light stones, which are often collected after some intricate but satisfying puzzle and used to cleanse a set of cursed watchtowers in each region. The Assassin's Creed Eagle Vision-like mode used to find areas of interest is particularly helpful because The Pathless includes no in-game map. You climb to high towers to then survey the land around you, but you can't mark a cliffside or building for you to track later. It can be disorienting at first in any new region, but over time I appreciated how it forced me to learn and remember the world around me. Each location I went to included at least a few notable puzzles. The Pathless never really tells you what to be looking for, but its visual cues are easy enough to understand and then apply to increasingly complex puzzles, making even the smallest excursion valuable in some way. The Hunter's Path takes some familiar fantasy storytelling trappings involving a god-slaying figure, but I still found myself consistently engaged and wanting to learn more via little bits of lore dropped as written records of the island's dying citizens' last thoughts. Showdowns with the corrupted gods are quite cool in execution. They're part chase scene as you hunt your foe through the landscape, and part Zelda-esque battle with several phases. While the first battle is relatively simple, Giant Squid finds some inventive twists on its formula. And each battle is backed by some of my favorite pieces of composer Austin Wintory's overall fantastic orchestral score. As you explore each of the Pathless's four main regions, a giant red orb of a storm shifts around the land. If you're caught in it, you and your eagle are separated, and you must find your way back to them in a rather basic stealth scenario in which you have to avoid the boss's gaze. This can frustratingly interrupt you in the middle of a puzzle, but the stakes are high enough to keep them from being meaningless. Getting caught costs you some of your stash of crystals. But once a boss is defeated, there's no real pressure whatsoever on how long you spend searching every nook and cranny for crystals and lightstones. I finished the Pathless story with a modest 40% or so of collectibles in about 7 hours, and returning to try to collect everything has not only been a joy, but some of my favorite parts of the Pathless. The Pathless's reliance on a simple but engaging movement system allowed me to explore Giant Squid's beautiful open world with ease, placing its challenge more on the environmental puzzles you inevitably arrive at rather than on the journey itself. Its story may settle into some familiar territory, but it still finds ways to fascinate with this world and the history its landscape holds. Each new crumbling building or encampment rewarded me in some way for coming across it. Giant Squid's thoughtful mechanics and layered puzzle design make the very act of finding your way a thrill in and of itself. For more on the Pathless, be sure to check out the developer-led gameplay walkthrough, and for more on PS5 launch games, watch our Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales review. And for everything else the Pathless, you are already in the right place, IGN.